gives, something, at least thankfully, to be positive about.
Goal in our Champions League debut for the Northern Ireland International.
Yes, I encountered when we met back before the elections. I understand that I just can't step away now because, I became like a symbol of freedom. I understand that I'm not a leader. I'm more frightened than anybody else among them.
What frightens you?
I'm afraid that maybe I will not be able to do enough. I don't know, just it's a fear of responsibility.
Svetlana Tikhanovskaya stood for president in the place of her husband after he was arrested and jailed, and it's widely believed she won the most votes in the election. But even so, she refuses to refer to herself as a president in waiting. Only after the country holds fair and transparent elections will people know who their president is, she tells me.
In the city, the 100-share index ended the day 11 points lower at 6,002. On Wall Street a short time ago, the Dow Jones was 95 points higher at 27,834. On the currency markets, the pound is down 0.1% against the dollar at $1.31. Against the euro, sterling is unchanged at €1.11.2, making the euro worth 90 pence. A number of people across the country have complained of falling ill after eating homegrown courgettes. They say the produce had a very bitter taste, caused sickness and diarrhea. Some batches of seed have been removed from sale after they were found to contain unusually high levels of a naturally occurring poisonous compound. Ali Savage reports from East Yorkshire.
In gardens across the land, courgettes are ready to pick. They are one of the easiest things to grow in a pot or plant bed. Such was the scene in the village of Wetwang in East Yorkshire, where 64-year-old Mike Andrews had been nurturing a courgette plant he'd got from a grower.
My wife was so thrilled. She'd never grown a courgette before.
He was so proud of it he took pictures, but when he came to eat the fruits of his labour, it wasn't quite what he was expecting.
The instant this piece of courgette went to my mouth, I knew something was awfully wrong. I shouted at my wife, "Don't eat the courgette, don't eat the courgette." And unfortunately I had swallowed a little. I was in the smallest room till about 8 in the morning, so unwell, it was ridiculous. And then I slept pretty continually for 48 hours.
Mr. Andrews has completely recovered. Last month, one of the biggest suppliers in the UK, Mr. Fothergill's, recalled a batch of courgette seeds. It said some of them grew produce with abnormally high levels of a naturally occurring chemical which caused nausea and diarrhea. There have been reported cases elsewhere of people falling ill this summer after eating homegrown courgettes. The advice from Fothergill's is to slice the end off and lick it. If it tastes bitter, then don't eat it.
Conservationists in Argyll say they're concerned that up to 500,000 farmed salmon could escape into the wild after their pens broke free from their moorings in heavy storms. The nets drifted for more than half a mile before being secured. Kevin Keane reports.
Maui, the owner of the North Carradale fish farm on the Kintyre Peninsula, says the nets broke free during Storm Ellen yesterday. They drifted half a mile before local boats, helped by a lifeboat from Campbelltown, were able to secure them. Drone images show that the integrity of at least 3 of the 10 nets has been compromised, with one crushed on the surface. Andrew Graham Stewart from Salmon and Trout Conservation Scotland says he's concerned about escapes.
In a rush sea, they are very unlikely to remain intact and to retain the salmon which are in those particular nets. And so the potential for hundreds of thousands of fish to escape is very, very serious.
The company says it's unclear whether fish have escaped, but environmentalists say the introduction of an extra 500,000 adult salmon in an area containing just 20,000 wild ones would be very damaging to the marine ecosystem. The concern is they'd overrun local rivers and interbreed with native Atlantic salmon.
The Manchester United captain Harry Maguire has been arrested while on holiday on the Greek island of Mykonos. The clubs say the player has been cooperating with authorities. His lawyer says he denies the allegations against him. Simon Stone reports.
The 27-year-old England and Manchester United defender was on a night out with friends in Mykonos when police were called to an altercation between 2 groups of British tourists. In a statement, police claimed 3 foreigners turned against them and an officer was struck. The trio was subsequently taken to a local station where it's alleged 3 officers were pushed and struck. It was then claimed one of those being held offered a bribe. The BBC does not know what Maguire is specifically being accused of, and according to his lawyer Konstantinos Darivas, Maguire denies the allegations and is convinced he will be released without charge. Manchester United say they are aware of an incident involving Maguire and have had contact with the player, and he is cooperating with the Greek authorities.
Cricket and England have dominated the first day of the third and final test against Pakistan in Southampton. A maiden century for Zach Crawley helped the hosts take control. A short time ago, they reached 325 for 4. England lead the series 1-0. A dinner at a golf club in the Irish Republic is threatening to cut a sway through the country's political life. One government minister has resigned, members of parliament have been suspended by their parties, and police are investigating whether coronavirus restrictions were breached. Our Ireland correspondent Chris Page has more details.
The story, which headline writers have dubbed Golfgate, has generated a massive public reaction in Ireland. On Tuesday, the government tightened lockdown restrictions. The measures included a ban on events or parties in restaurants. The following day, around 80 people attended the Parliamentary Golf Society's dinner in Clifton in County Galway. The Agriculture Minister, Dara Calleary, was among them. He's resigned. So too has the Vice Chair of the Upper House of Parliament, Senator Jerry Buttimer. The leaders of the two biggest parties in the coalition government, the Prime Minister Micheál Martin and his deputy Leo Varadkar, have removed the whips from 6 other politicians who attended. The Health Minister, Stephen Donnelly, said the dinner shouldn't have been organised.
It is inexcusable. There are people all over this country who have made huge sacrifices, and at a minimum, the Irish people need to see those rules followed.
A Supreme Court judge, Justice Seamus Wolfe, has said he's sorry for going to the event. The EU Trade Commissioner Phil Hogan has also apologised. They both said they attended in good faith, believing the dinner was COVID compliant. Police say they're investigating alleged breaches of public health regulations.
The headlines again. From midnight tomorrow, people in Oldham in Greater Manchester and Blackburn and Pendle in Lancashire will be banned from socialising with other households after a spike in coronavirus cases. Thousands of British holidaymakers are trying to get home from Croatia before rules come into force tomorrow morning, requiring them to go into quarantine. The government has extended a ban on landlords evicting tenants in England and Wales for a month, but charities said more should be done to help renters badly hit by the pandemic. Russian doctors have said the opposition activist Alexei Navalny can be flown to Germany for treatments. BBC News.
Read by Murray Devlin. In a moment, smashing super stand-up Sarah Pascoe curates her Dream Festival for us. A bit of an unusual theme, I have to say, but we'll roll with it, as it's her. First, on Wednesday mornings, we check the latest facts and figures.
It's been confirmed that a new virus has been spreading across China. A year dominated by COVID-19.
Saying you have 4 positive tests is meaningless unless you know how many people were tested. 10 people? 1,000? 10,000?
Time in which more or less has been making sense of an epidemic of figures.
We broadcast the estimating in early June. At the time, it was controversial. Since then, prominent scientists have made similar claims.
Tim Harford presents More or Less,
using sophisticated statistical techniques such as counting.
BBC Sounds and Radio 4 each Wednesday morning at 9.
On Front Row at 7:15, we'll find out about the online festival, which is attempting to capture the spirit of the Edinburgh Festival Fringe. The idea is to broadcast performances from sheds around the country. Now on Radio 4, the brilliant Sarah Pascoe has been given the job of curating her Dream Summer Festival. She's chosen a theme: misery.